shut. Oh,
Shut.
fucking shut.
Fucking shut.
Oh my god. Fuck.
Welcome back from sporting.
Shut. It's fucking tiring out there. Man, holy shit. It's hot.
Yeah, it's out
Yeah.
there. Crisp
bacon.
30 degrees Celsius.
Fucking hell. Yeah. I just came back from a little football match. On the park.
From Birmingham?
Well, yeah. Right?
Yeah, bye.
I did, mate. Fucking. Yeah. So, fuck.
You want to take a breath? You know what? I
No,
got this.
man, I'm so ready. I
Okay.
got stuff to say about this film.
Oh, yeah?
And the good news about this movie is it has literally no plot, so we don't have to go over the plot. Which
The good
is
news,
exciting.
really, about this movie is that it is over.
Welcome to the Low Ceiling.
I'm Pri.
I'm John. Today we're covering the Rob McKittrick 2005 cult. I say in
Yeah.
quotes, cult classic.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah.
I refuse to engage with the idea that this movie is a cult classic in any way.
No chance.
And okay, I want to say two things as we start. One is a statement,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to say it in a second. But the other, it's a question. I'm going to ask you that question.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Good prefacing of both things. Go
I want to be
ahead.
clear of my intentions.
Uh-huh.
Which one? The statements first.
Am I not to retort to your statement?
Just be quiet.
What? Okay. Whoa,
right.
shit. Okay.
This is not a time to talk. This
no
is neither the
tomfoolery with this one.
podcasting is not the place to talk. Okay.
Yes.
One thing about looking back at movies, especially ones that may not have aged perfectly, I don't mean to sound like a scold. Like, I don't really like that when people kind of look back and they look at movies from like a different time when society was slightly different, and they're just like, I can't believe they did this. And it's like, well, things were different back then, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
This is one of the first movies where I was like, that's really hard to temper my scoldiness.
Yeah.
Not because the humor is really bad, but there's one aspect to Ryan Reynolds' character that is really, really not aged well.
Yes. Among other things, but yeah, that one specifically.
But the one where he wants to sleep with an underage girl is like
all of them. He wants to sleep with all the underage girls.
The movie's general consensus that trying to sleep with high school girls is cool isn't cool.
Not cool,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
You know what? I know 2005 was homophobic. I knew that. I didn't know it was that homophobic.
This movie drops some hard Fs and some hard Rs, like frequently.
I'm
But
150 of them.
You're getting me sidetracked. I have
Yeah.
a question. A really important question.
Uh-huh.
Is this the worst movie we've done so far?
Absolutely, 100%. Hands down.
I think it's probably the worst.
I feel like this should not qualify as a film. You know, okay, I have a note here.
Oh, it's a series of sketches. It's not.
That's exactly it, right? Like
Yeah.
you and I, we love Justin Long. This is a Justin Long fan club pod.
I have a really important thing to say about Justin Long later. Yeah.
Okay, but would you agree that like he's our boy? Like he's there in good things. We wish he was in more. I say we. I don't see much agreement from you, so I'm gonna change that to I. I like Justin Long.
No, I love Justin Long. No,
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
If he was married to Daniel Craig like Rachel Weisz was, then it would be the fucking Justin Long Daniel Craig fan club.
Welcome to the dinner.
Yeah.
And then Rachel Weisz will kick the shit out of her. I'm sorry, Rachel. It's only table for one long out here. And it's Justin. This movie, it's got like a who's who of Hollywood sweethearts. Sure. Justin Long.
Some people who I really like.
Ryan Reynolds. Fucking Luis Guzman. Shout out Community. Great.
Fucking Anna Faris.
Anna Faris. There you go. So, but is it possible to sterilize a movie so that it doesn't reproduce into other versions?
I kind of think that happened though with this film.
This film, I'm so happy that it killed its kind of film.
What?
It's like
what do you mean by that?
Where it's like, oh, it's a day in the life, but nothing happens and there's no plot or dialogue or comedy or intrigue.
There's so many better versions of this film.
1,000.
Like
absolutely.
I think so. Another thing too is that like we're kind of in a food media moment right now.
Yeah.
Not just because like we've reached the peak of it with The Bear,
Mm-hmm.
but like you look at lots of stuff in the ensuing years, especially during streaming.
Yeah.
Where like food related media and what it's like to work in a restaurant has become a thing. I just watched Burnt, which is a piece of shit, but like
Boiling Point was fantastic.
Boiling Point is
all
awesome.
over Netflix is food porn. All we do is watch somebody feed Phil all the time.
I actually have a list here of like the kind of fictional movies, and one of them is a much better version of this film, and I'll get to it in a second. The only problem is no one has really seen it except for me. So The Bear is amazing. If no one's watched it, you're wrong.
Come on, how could you not?
Chef is a fantastic movie.
Absolutely.
Boiling Point isn't like an indie British movie that was really great.
Fantastic.
It's a little over the top, but that's kind of the point.
Again, one day. That movie is like one evening.
That movie takes place in real time.
In real time.
It's a very cool.
Incredible.
The weird thing about Boiling Point is like it takes place in real time, but it's like all this happened in like 90 minutes. It's a little sped up. Like it's a little sped
Sure,
up.
but regardless,
but
right?
there's lots of truth in that film, and I thought it's a really, really good movie and just really well made. Like and it's in one shot. Don't forget, Boiling Point is done in one shot, which is really cool.
Yeah, and with like a bunch of possibly not really any marquee names except for the lead,
who's barely.
Yeah.
So Burnt sucks, but it's like it is a version. It's a little more of a mainstream version of Boiling Point, certainly. Yeah. But that works against it, I think, with like Bradley Cooper. Pig, which we watched together.
Oh, what's up, Nicolas Cage?
Pig kind of like seems like it's not going to be a restaurant movie, but then it is.
Surprisingly, because you never see it coming.
Pig is like the antithesis to Burnt.
Yeah.
In lots of ways, and a very, very good movie, but like much more moody and not fun.
Well, then in that line, then I don't know if The Menu would qualify for this list.
I want to say something about The Menu, actually, because that was on my list. The Menu.
Okay.
That's one of the most recent ones. Julie and Julia. Although that's more about the development of a book, but it's definitely a foodie film.
Sure.
And Ratatouille is like the big one. Ratatouille is the closest one to Waiting in time, because it was 2007, Waiting's 2005. The Menu. So I quite like The Menu. It's a film directed by Mark Mylod.
Shout out Voldemort.
Nicholas Hoult. It's got an incredible cast. It's really fun. One place, almost in real time.
There you go.
The thing that I always think about with The Menu is I heard a lot about it, and most people reacted the same way I did, where I was like, yeah, it's like a fun movie. Although lots of people were just like, man, The Menu. Fucking satire, am I right? And it's like, well, satire of what? And they're like, I don't know. But they got him.
I'm about ready to get eaten.
Like the menu ostensibly is satire, but it's actually absurdity. That's what's more fun about it.
Sure.
But it tries to be a satire, but it's like, why don't you just make a crazy film? You know?
Yeah.
And then like the satire of it is like, the satire part of it, which they're trying to do kind of both, the satire and the absurdity, and the satirical nature of it is like, what? So some food is pretentious? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like,
have you made any Michelin ever?
Like,
Welcome.
and the weird thing is the funny thing, which we looked up, which I guessed at, was I was like, I bet the production designer for this film worked on Chef's Table, which they did.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, yeah, but like Chef's Table is like super sincere, and like I like Chef's Table a lot. So like, are they poking fun at themselves? Like, I guess so. I don't know. I just
they're
think
poking
it's
fun at money and like how crass it is to kind of just show it off all the time.
Yeah, I think The Menu is doing two things not as good as it could have done one.
Sure.
You know, even though like I'm not knocking it. The Menu is a very fun film if nobody's seen it. Now, the movie that is most like Waiting, that is quite good, that is kind of flew under the radar, but I did watch. Is this movie called Support the Girls?
Support the Girls. No, I'm about to find out right now.
Yeah, I should have looked this up when I got Wikipedia open right here.
Tell me a little something about Support the Girls.
Okay. It's a movie. It's written, directed by Andrew Bujowski.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Regina Hall, Haley Richardson.
Yeah.
Dylan Galula and who is the fucking
Jungle Pussy,
Jungle
dude.
Pussy.
Yeah.
That's who it is. Yeah, she's fucking awesome.
Oh
in
my
that movie.
gosh.
Now, if I remember correctly, like Support the Girls is kind of like, it's a comedy. However, the thing about that makes that movie good as compared to Waiting is just like a series of bits, and Support the Girls has an idea behind it. It has like a story and kind of like a philosophical idea, you know? And it kind of sticks to the story. So the movie doesn't necessarily, it's not like a laugh a minute, but it's like funny and charming and kind of sweet. And I also believe it takes place over one day in one place as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's about these women who kind of like work at like a Hooters-esque kind of
establishment,
bar and restaurant in Texas, I think. And Regina Hall is the manager, and she's amazing in this movie.
Nice.
And like Haley Lou Richardson is really good. She's playing kind of against type in this movie a little bit, and it's just like kind of a sweet indie dramedy kind of thing. Yeah. And it is the movie that like finally kind of, it came out in 2018, so many years later it kind of corrected the mistakes that Waiting made.
Well, like, okay, there's obviously hundreds, if not like so many movies that are, there's so many mediocre films that don't have to be as bad as Waiting, but they don't
there's
have
like 4
to.
or 5.
Even then, even within this genre of like A Day in the Life, or like, you know, revolving around 5 characters doing mostly nothing, that capture the tone that Waiting is trying to do without being an absolute shit show of like, what is, I can't think of another word but vulgarity and crassness. You know what I mean?
It's
it's profane just for the sake of it.
It's like trying to show like the nihilistic underbelly of everyday things. And
of kitchen life.
Yeah, but like Waiting kind of like, there's also like truth in this movie in certain ways. Everything is definitely a caricature, like no doubt. It's like a caricature.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of stuff. Like I think one of the reasons this, like when I was in high school, like this movie was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because like for anyone who'd worked in a restaurant, they were just like, there is a lot there that. And like I've worked in like a food service establishment. Yourself, you have as well. Like the one moment I think is like a great caricature is the woman who is like really like the huge bitchy woman who's being served.
The Elizabeth Moss who walks in
and
like
the
a
part,
double roll.
Yeah. And just the whole part where she's like, the last 4 times that I've come here, the food
Oh, yeah.
has been, and it's like, well, why would you come back? Like, what are you doing?
The food was shit the last 4 times I was here.
And it's so funny because
that's awesome. Yeah.
When I worked at the unnamed food establishment for many years that I worked at, I literally had a customer like that who would she'd come in and ask for a specific item that we just didn't have. And she was like, why don't you get it? And it's like, because you're the only one who wants it. Get out.
Go away.
And I finally found out she would go on these like walks every Saturday with her friends. She was older. And they would all just kind of outvote her to come to this place.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just in the end I was just kind of like, well, that's just sad. Just be a little more firm. But the other thing, I mean, now I'm just gonna start bitching about this woman, but like
this is waiting on Eleanor to come.
The thing that she wanted was just unsweetened almond milk, and it was like, we don't have it.
It's not even like a pistachio croissant or something. It's like, yo, you got milk that the other kind
without like a gram of sugar in it, you know. And I remember her being like, well, how can I drink coffee with it? I'm like, get a fucking Americano. I don't know. It was.
She's not an animal. Come on now. Yeah. Okay. She's an older lady with class.
No, she literally was a donkey being walked by her. No.
She came in with like almond.
So like that, there is like truth in this movie kind of about that.
Yeah. I think the seedy underbelly that you're talking about is just the one scene where one person comes in after the kitchen's been fully cleaned and closed.
Yeah.
They're like, we would like food now. Fuck. Just the collective dismay.
But also like I'm like really straining my mind to think of, but there are other movies that are similar to this that are like the
Well, yes,
the zaniness of real life
Of
that
course.
you don't always see.
everything with like any retail worker movie, 40-Year-Old Virgin, anything with like office life, office space.
The Office is
The Office
Office
itself.
Space is another good one.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley, like that kind of stuff.
You know, as you said, Silicon Valley, I just have to say that it's part of the top 5, so
Oh,
don't talk too
okay.
much about
All
it.
right.
Okay.
So I actually wrote down that like Justin Long, his story, which is the only real story in this, actually reminds me of the British Office. It reminds me of Tim's whole thing in the British Office, you know?
Totally.
But he kind of goes like in a different direction. It definitely feels inspired by that in a
Yeah,
way. And
yeah.
that like
Not feeling fulfilled.
the only thing about this movie I think that like really speaks truth is like Justin Long's kind of thing of like feeling listless and feeling like he's like less than and blah blah blah.
Feeling like his life is over even though he's 21 or whatever.
He's like 22.
Yeah.
And like the the fact that like his the shining example of his failure is some guy got like a bachelor's degree, which is so silly because like, dude, fucking everyone has like at least one bachelor's degree out there.
In anything.
You know, like, yeah.
Get it in tables.
Yeah.
I got a bachelor's in chairs.
Yeah, man.
Done.
Yeah.
I think the whole point of it being like a cult classic really comes down to the cast. And that over time people are like, oh yeah, Deadpool and, you know, Chris Pratt's wife and ex-wife, sorry. And what's his face from Community. And it's like, okay, cool.
You're missing a really big one, though. Who are you thinking of?
Dane Cook.
It coincided with Dane Cook at this point in his career is
Jeez.
about to become like the biggest comedian on earth.
Yeah,
basically.
man.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That
What a
was like
time.
that was an insane time. Was he big when you were growing up?
Oh,
'Cause-
definitely.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And I mean, not that I have a language barrier or anything growing up, but even then I was
I don't
like,
know. Have
man,
you heard
fuck
yourself
this guy,
talk?
dude.
No.
Okay. Cancelled. Yeah, that's true. I talk gibberish. Yeah, it was hard to watch. And he's hard to watch in the movie too sometimes. But they all are.
I'm not like I've never been a huge fan of Dane Cook's comedy, but like at the time, like I've kind of changed my tune. I've softened my tune on him a little bit because like as with everyone who gets like insanely famous, insanely fast,
Yeah.
as many people who love this guy equally, there's a bunch of people who recognize he's not that funny, and you know, and that's kind of like I think that's kind of
Sure.
a shitty attitude.
With anyone.
yeah.
Well, even for Dave Chappelle
But-
or the whatever,
but
Amy
Dane-
Schumer's.
Dane Cook was so massive.
Yeah.
Like no, obviously Dave Chappelle and a lot of people are like some of the greatest working comics and stuff, but like Dane Cook by sheer popularity for a couple of years
Oh yeah.
was fucking incredible.
Global.
And so a couple things, I don't know a lot about Dane Cook. He explodes and then he just fucking boom, he's gone. But
yeah.
he still does comedy.
Does he?
In the I think he does now, but in the interceding
damn.
years, he's still doing comedy after he's like the biggest thing of all time. So the few things I know about him, which made me kind of soften my view of him.
Yeah.
First of all, a friend of mine actually saw him live, like dropping in like in 2018. He dropped into somewhere at the Comedy Store, some fucking place.
What?
And he was like, he is so funny. Like he was totally different. He's doing a different thing.
Is he calmer?
Yeah.
Like a bit
and
more
he's
kind of like, yeah,
and
which is
I also, a couple of years ago, he was on the YMH podcast.
yeah.
And first off, he told the story about how I believe his brother, who was his business manager, stole all of his money, which is kind of fucked up.
What a shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is fucking
fuck.
crazy. And how I believe his entire Madison Square Garden tape thing, he like improvised it because he was shooting a movie and he had overstacked himself, like just totally overbooked himself.
Yeah.
And then he
Didn't have
have time
time?
to like write his Madison Square Garden show and he just
Ugh.
winged it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So it's hard, whatever you think or thought of him, you can't really say the guy wasn't a talented and hardworking person, but like with comedy, you don't have to love it.
Yeah.
But I have kind of come around to being like, you kind of have to respect his game a little bit. And that doesn't mean in this movie he's like anything special.
Oh, what a performance
Yeah.
by Dane Cook
Yeah.
himself. It's like,
Yeah.
no, he's there for like maybe 3 minutes across 4 scenes, and he has like 4 lines of dialogue.
The thing is too is like this is just before he explodes into like the biggest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Luis Guzman, our guy,
Can we? Yeah.
China McBride from
Time McBride. Right.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
Our boy. Yeah, he's also in it. He's actually, I like him in this. He's good.
He's good.
He's better in this than in Gone in 60
He's
Seconds. I
a
think.
philosophizing dishwasher who's just got nothing but meditation and words of wisdom for its fellow peers.
Yeah.
Who care not for it.
Okay, so I want to go in this order, in the order of importance. I want to talk about Anna Faris.
Yeah.
Then I want to talk about Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about Justin Long. We've done Dane Cook.
Okay.
We've mentioned Louise Guzman's
Cool.
name. We're contractually obligated to mention Louise Guzman at all times.
I got a statue in the bedroom. Yeah.
Anna Faris, I really like her as an actress.
Yeah.
She unfortunately hasn't done a lot of things I actually do like.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
She, for a period of time, she has a podcast, right? And for a period of time when that podcast was like in its inception at the beginning, for maybe like 50 to 100 episodes, it was one of the funniest podcasts. Going.
I've never had a chance to actually listen to it.
Now it's become very sincere in a kind of like boring way.
All right.
But she used to improv all the time and like force her guests to improv with her, and she is truly funny. Like,
nice.
And she seems very nice and likable and stuff, but then she would just make them like improv scenes with her.
Yeah.
And it was really fucking hilarious. And I remember just like really enjoying listening to it. And then it just kind of got kind of more interviewy and sincere, and it just got boring. And I fell off of it. But
I think in its infancy when it came out was probably around the time of their divorce. I'm not sure. Maybe that's why it soared.
It was before her divorce.
Okay.
It was, I remember, and not to blame everything on 9/11. No. I remember I listened to it pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And then her and Chris Pratt got divorced, which is what it is.
Yeah.
They have a son together. At least they have one child together. But also what happened too was Me Too happened.
Right.
And she became involved in that as kind of like a woman's voice at that time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like Me Too ruined a thing I liked. I'm not saying that at all. But it did kind of get more sincere, and I think she wanted to go in a different direction with the pod, basically.
Totally.
And so,
like it changed the tone of the pod, and it's
Yeah.
not what it started off as.
And if you're into like interviews and she has good guests and stuff like that, like I don't know. I think it's still going. It's like she's still like a nice, good person to listen to.
The thing is,
like
it is
smart
like
and funny. Yeah.
Her podcast, right, where it's a representation of herself and her thoughts and whatever else is going on in her life. So it makes sense that the tone would change when there's like an absolute philosophical shift, like something so drastic happens, and you can't help but talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's like a part and parcel of your personality now.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is too is like it's so funny. So many podcasts I listen to lots.
Yeah.
Are like sometimes when you're like when they start having guests, you're kind of like, don't they realize I just want to listen to them? Like some people don't know how good they have it, and
it's
like
called advertising.
Someone like Anna Faris with a good co-host.
Yeah.
Could be something where I'm just like I could just listen to her talk for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And just goof off, you know.
Well, that's how you get paid, man. Get them guests. Get them to give you money.
Yeah.
All right. All of our friends who are listening right now, listen up.
Yeah. If we have anyone like of note on this podcast, we're definitely gonna
take their money
them and rob them.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole game. So
in that order.
If we ever ask anyone to be on the pod, just know that we fucking robbed the
You
shit
go get wrecked,
the
son.
fuck out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And got those sick listens. So okay. Ryan Reynolds. A man who's really come back into the public consciousness.
By public demand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan Reynolds is in this film. He's arguably the biggest part of this film because at the time he's kind of blown up off of a truly horrendous film known as Van Wilder.
Yeah.
He's doing Ryan Reynolds' style, especially in this movie, is possibly his most insufferable.
It's Van Wilder-y.
Yeah.
It's the same guy.
but he's come back around to that in Deadpool, even though I didn't mind Deadpool 1.
Yeah.
But he's like just kind of, it's just what he does. And the thing is, I don't think he's that bad of an actor. Like,
No.
he can do other things.
I don't know. I don't know if he can do other things. I've only seen him do one thing mostly.
There's a film that we're going to cover that I'm a big fan of, and I know, according to Wikipedia, Terrence Malick is also a large fan of.
Oh, Green Lantern.
No, actually not that far off, but the Smokin' Aces. Which
Oh, man.
I quite enjoy
What's up,
Smokin'
Smokin'
Aces. And
Wait, that's a gambling one, right?
no.
No? Wait, which one is the one where you gamble?
Well, it involves gambling. It involves casinos. Smokin' Aces is the one where all of these people want to kill Jeremy Piven. And he's in. Well, there's no gambling actually involved. It's mostly just shooting people.
Oh, never
You're
mind.
thinking of Mississippi Grind.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Which is good.
That's a good one. Okay.
Reynolds is good in that.
Cool.
But Smokin' Aces comes out just after Waiting.
Great.
And Reynolds plays a serious character, and he's quite good in it. He's quite natural and good, and that movie is underrated.
Is he a white
like that
supremacist
movie.
in it?
Sorry?
Is he a white supremacist?
No, Chris Pine is.
Oh, cool.
Chris Pine plays a
'Kay,
neo-Nazi.
I am down to clown with Smokin' Aces.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also-
Jeremy Piven, man.
Also,
Sorry,
So-
we can't get sidetracked.
all right, we'll talk about Smokin' Aces another time. We got to talk about Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
He's had a really strange career, and it's weird that what a fucking comeback he's had into the public consciousness.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, if anything, being what do you call it? Like one track acting really does pay off over time.
I mean, so many people have built careers off of being like
Yeah.
having very little
One
range. Like,
dimensional.
you don't have to be fucking
get that
you
money,
don't have to be
dude.
Daniel Day-Lewis to
Hell yeah.
be a very famous actor. Like, it's I mean, he's like, but he's also like charming. People like him.
He's a huge business guy.
He does good.
He's got 40
he's got
companies.
interesting businesses and stuff, and like
He's a philanthropist. He's doing
he's a
good
philanthropist. He's from Vancouver, which is cool. Married to Blake Lively, an actress who I really admire. Yeah, like I don't know, like he's had an incredible comeback from being a guy who just never seemed to get it together, you know. Weirdly, because he has it all. Like he has.
Yeah, but maybe it was just a combination of like him choosing certain projects over not. I don't know. It's not like he got overlooked by directors. It's just I think he has a lot of privilege in wanting to do certain movies to make a quick, cool mill.
I hate to sound basic, but I think for a minute there he was market corrected by Ryan Gosling.
Sure.
Because Gosling kind of can do everything, and it's kind of a pleasant surprise when Gosling is funny.
Yeah.
But he can do serious really well.
Predominantly serious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just better than Reynolds ever could. But I could see so many roles where Reynolds could have done what it could have been in a movie that Gosling was in. I don't know about that. I don't think Ryan Gosling has a range in terms of being a comedian. I think he's probably funny because he's such a serious guy that when he makes a joke, it comes off fantastic. He's the straight man for
he's
sure.
Just, yeah.
But like in things like La La Land and Big Short, he can be funny, right?
Yeah. It's almost like Tom Cruise's character in Tropic Thunder.
Yes.
Where it depends on how you write it and how wacky you make him.
Yeah,
great.
100%.
But like Ryan Reynolds is like kind of assumed to be this charming, funny character.
Yeah, he's like when we talked about Ace Ventura, we said like Jim Carrey can be the only crazy one in the universe. And
that's right.
Waiting is very much like that, where Ryan Reynolds he's the only one who can be as big as he is, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and I don't like the style he's doing here in this.
This is my Ryan Reynolds impression. You ready? And I'm glad I'm choosing the microphone to do a facial expression, so only you can understand it. But this is Ryan Reynolds' face in every movie ever. It's this one lip quiver. That's it.
That sounded great, though.
Yeah,
I think that'll I think that'll really come through in the recording. Just like your face, just Do you want to hear my Ryan Reynolds impression?
Yeah.
I think I made that joke before. Actually, it's stupid.
Terrible.
Fucking loser.
Hey. Nope, that's Jim Carrey. Anyway.
Whoops. Ooh, dear. Ooh, I dropped your plate. That's my Ryan Reynolds.
We lost like 6 listeners just from my face expressions. Sorry, guys. TikTok coming real soon.
Justin Long.
Justin Long.
The real true king of this film. I want to introduce something that I've been thinking of for a really long time. Since before we started this pod, since the inception of this pod.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk about it. The reason is because I watched a movie that we will cover at some point that's bad called Accepted. And the reason Justin Long is bad in it, I'll get to it. But what I want to introduce is it's called the Justin Long Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Justin Long, I want to pat myself on the back because I'd been thinking of this before Barbarian came out. And then when Barbarian came out, I was like, I was fucking right about this guy. Because he's an excellent actor. Justin Long is a very good actor. And he works a lot. He's done a lot of movies. He's done a lot of movies in our wheelhouse, which is kind of why I want to talk about it. Yeah. But he's had like an incredible career of very weird films. And I don't think he gets a lot of respect until Barbarian, which I thought he was amazing in. But like, he doesn't get a ton of respect for what he does. Can I go over some highlights of the Justin Long Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Which I think this movie belongs in the Hall of Fame, but here's a couple others. Galaxy Quest. This is the first movie he was in.
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers. Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Accepted.
Okay.
Which I don't think belongs in the Hall of Fame, but it's not good. But he carries that film kind of. Alvin and the Chipmunks. He's done every movie of Alvin and the Chipmunks. He's a voice of one of the Chipmunks.
Right.
He's even done Chipwrecked, which is clearly the worst one.
Yo.
Clearly Chipwrecked is not.
Chipwrecked.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And I just want to point out, so he does Drag Me to Hell, and he's not that into you in 2009.
Those sick.
Can I also point out, according to Wikipedia, in 2009, he's credited in 11 films.
Oh, what?
Yeah. The dude is a fucking gangster.
What a machine.
Yeah, he's like, it's like kind of like cameo. There's a couple like cameo, voice, deleted, like things like that. But it's like he's credited in 11 movies in 1 year.
Holy shit.
And on either side of that, it's like he's making like 5 or 6. Like it's fucking nuts.
He's like, I'm about to be 35. Let me make my cool 20 million.
So after 2009, he was obviously like, well, that wasn't a good idea. He goes into a bit of a dip of kind of like, whatever. Yeah. And then he comes out in Barbarian and he's just incredible. Yeah. And like in the most unexpected thing, I thought he was phenomenal in that film. Yeah. Yeah. And the reason he's good in this movie and good in other movies and bad in something like Accepted is Justin Long is one of the greatest straight men alive today. Right. And in Accepted, he's playing the Ryan Reynolds kind of character.
Oh, like a jokey guy.
Not good at it.
Goofy
he's
guy.
Not good made for that.
Okay.
So I think this movie belongs in the Justin Long Hall of Fame.
Justin Long is just shocked to see himself as like a villain character, a douchebag in Barbarian. Yeah. A role that he's never done in his life. Not that I've seen of, where he's explicitly a bad guy. Yes. And then tries to redeem himself, but also in like a selfish way, hoping that he would get away. Like Barbarian, incredible movie, right?
I mean, Barbarian is so good. Yeah.
Just like, mwah, just like chef kiss horror of the year.
There's so much playing in that film where he's like, you know how big of a dick he is. Yeah. And then she's like, there's someone else in the building. We got to go back and save him. You're just like, just leave him. Yeah. And then she fucking saves him and he pushes her off the roof. Yep. And like there, and you know, as the viewer, like, you know what's going. It's so
he's a piece of shit, and it suits him so well. But before Barbarian, including all the shit ones that he's done or the good ones that he's done, he's just playing the one guy in everything.
Again, you don't have to have range to be fucking famous or great. You really don't.
Totally.
You don't have to fucking be a
He found his like zone and he thrives in it.
I actually think now that we're talking about this, it's actually kind of helpful to be pigeonholed in a way, like to not necessarily need to have that insane range.
Absolutely.
Because then you're just kind of like, I'm the guy who does this. Yeah. We talked about it with Alpha Dog, Ben Foster.
There you go.
insane man on meth.
Yeah.
Ben Foster's on speed dial.
Don't see him too much after around that time. Alpha Dog is another one of those movies which, like, of its time, where you have the relatability of knowing people who talk like that, use certain language, whatever, the way they act, the way they dress, you see it in real life. Also true of waiting, where people are frustrated when they work in the food industry. They say certain things, think certain things.
Yeah, so like I said about being a scold, it much like Alpha Dog, it would be disingenuous to be like, I can't believe they dropped hard Fs and hard Rs, and it's kind of like, fucking people fucking did that.
Yeah.
Like they just, people who did that.
And we know now not to do that.
And we've changed. Like we've changed and kind of been like, maybe those aren't the best words. They're stigmatizing, they're mean, they're homophobic, or they're fucking, they're stigmatizing
100%.
people with mental illnesses.
It's a bit like going back to like edited books that came out from 1800s to now match the delicate sensibilities of today.
It's pointless, and it also I don't like kind of pretending that kind of stuff just like didn't happen, because I just think it's silly. And also looking back at that stuff, to me, obviously, because we do this podcast, is really interesting. I like seeing that. Like, I like being like, how did the world used to live? How was it back then?
And it is buck wild, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, it's like you see it in really old films a lot too. You see those different ways that people treated other people and stuff, and that's kind of, it's interesting to have that now that you have the perspective. Yeah. And now we're like getting to a period where we're 18 years removed from this film coming out. Is that math correct? Yeah. And it's like, it's now we're re-examining that time when it's like, it wasn't perfect. No. Just like today is not going to be perfect when they, in 2040, when they look back, and
of course
they're just like, oh man, what are those things in the back? Are those trees?
Trees?
I've never seen a tree.
What's that green thing?
Yeah. Are they laying in grass? What? My God, that lady's drinking water.
Straight from the source. What a mad woman.
Wow.
Yeah, what a time.
Boiling it first? Unbelievable.
Buck wild.
What is a Coca-Cola? Yeah.
Why is Ryan Reynolds making the face where he smelled wasabi without consent?
But, okay.
Acting.
So, however, the real aspect of this movie that has aged so poorly is just having sex with high school girls is cool.
Also that, yeah.
Which anyone who wants to cut just that line and just use it against me, go ahead.
Don't be throwing it out in the universe then.
But it is like, it's so blatant in this film. And even though Anna Faris does make fun of him for it at some point, it's still just kind of like gross.
No, because it doesn't matter whether they make fun of it or not, because he does take this child to bed and then says, we'll wait till you turn 18, okay? Which is next week, but not a big deal. But
well, also, it's particularly hard when he makes like an impassioned speech about how the law shouldn't apply to him.
Yes, it's like a 20-minute no music background, just like zooming into his face going, morality.
Yeah, what's that?
I got some.
And then also when he decides not to have sex with her at the end, well, spoiler alert, he's like, if anyone asks, it's like if anyone asks, we did, and it's like,
I'm the coolest guy in 2005.
And okay, here's the thing too. I knew people like that where I grew up.
Totally, me too. Oh my gosh, of course.
It would be disingenuous to pretend that this is like an outlying thing.
No,
but
God, no.
I'm from a very small town, and there was definitely people like that. Like when I was in like grade 11 and going to a high school party and being like, that guy's like 28. It's like he hasn't even been in high school since I've been in high school.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just know that he's like 28.
Hanging around. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, hey, small town, big town, same thing. I'm from a very big town, and you still see weirdos.
Oh yeah.
Staying weird in your social circle. Yeah. They're like, how do I know you? Oh, I'm your classmate's close friend. Shut your mouth. We're 14. What are you doing here, old guy? Anyway,
I was her supervisor at the office job. We were. It is like it's really gross. And I mean, that's It's like all I have to say about that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I'm. Yeah.
It really is like they were just like, all right, slacker culture TM and slapped it on the back of this movie.
Yeah. It's a little bit like, because it's just like a kind of a bundle of sketches.
Yeah.
It's just feels a little like kind of like not well thought out. Can we like get into the plot? This will take like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Basically, they work at a restaurant called Shenanigans, which I want to come back to in a second.
Yes.
They work in a restaurant called Shenanigans. All of these fucking people, and you just see a day in their life. And like the whole thing is like Justin Long has been offered the assistant manager job, but he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. And then eventually he's kind of like given an ultimatum to like take it or not, and he just quits and he's like, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yep.
That's really the plot. Like,
That's it.
nothing
And then
much
there's a
else
bunch of
happens.
people with him who are supposed to be his friends, but really they're all in their own little world.
They're all sex perverts who yeah.
And also they
Um,
love to party and
so-
be weird.
This restaurant's called Shenanigans.
Yes.
And it has all this weird shit on the walls. And now I want to ask you, is this restaurant inspired by a joke in Super Troopers?
Oh, I didn't even make that connection. Oh my
well,
god.
there's a joke in Super Troopers where one of the guys says, they're like, what's that restaurant you like with all the crazy shit on the walls? And the one guy's like, Shenanigans? And I was like, is this
Oh no.
whole concept just a takeoff of that weird joke in Super Troopers?
You know what? I wouldn't put it past the director.
Well, I honestly think that, speaking of, that is that movie, which is like the nihilistic underbelly of a normal job. Super Troopers is a perfect example
There you are.
of these people who you're seeing the interior of their work and
Yeah.
they're behaving very badly. I like Super Troopers.
Like Super
I
Troopers.
like that movie. I unlike this movie, I don't refuse that is a cult film. I think that is a cult film.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's bad and good in many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they tried to do very little with characters in this movie outside of just being like, all right, you're the hot girl, you're the other hot girl, you're the other hot girl, you're the young hot girl. And then as for the guys, pervert 1, pervert 2, guy who can't pee. That guy, the guy who can't pee, I got a few things to say about
Calvin.
him.
Yeah.
Calvin.
Yeah.
Calvin got way too much character shit. Okay? He got given way too many things. So, one, not only is he like this neurotic, like obsessed with his girlfriend, but has to be on the phone call all the time while at work, but also ambitious for promotion. So
Yeah.
he's got like zeal to do the job really well, but also he can't piss in public because of some anxiety of some guy wanting to look at him. But also they always have a game going on where they show each other their penis, which he
Partakes in,
enthusiastically participates in. So it's like, all right, Calvin, what's your deal? Relax. Let somebody else have a little bit more
But
personality.
Also, his like that whole thing where he can't pee. It's not like a personality trait. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
It's just a joke that
Yeah.
is in the film,
For the entirety of the
and
film.
then it just becomes like a running joke.
oh,
but
you can't
the
be.
original joke is just like homophobic and silly,
Yeah.
and like it
like,
has no conclusion.
no, but like any interaction between two men in this movie is just like, all right, penis, but show it or
Well,
put it away. Haha,
the
gay joke.
the penis showing game, which
Yeah.
is integral to the lack of plot, is like the entire joke of it, which Anna Faris points out is like, wait, you all show each other your penises and then call the other person gay,
Yeah.
which is
Which they are
Like-
all aware that it's like, haha, like we're fucked up, we're degenerates, we're doing all this depraved shit because we know it's hypocritical to be this way, but we're doing it anyway.
it's a gay joke that
Is on itself. I do want to say that Kai McBride's character does point out that this whole penis game how it originated in the Shenanigans restaurant is as a catalyst for change because
Yeah.
their lives were so mundane and schmah, and so they did something wild and inappropriate, and now that's their what? How does that make the restaurant better? Morale?
he said it was like because it engaged people in the restaurant. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like it's funny because like that the penis showing game is so
No inhibitions.
stupid and then comes and it seems off the cuff, and then it becomes a plot point, which I actually think is like an interesting part of this movie. Like, it becomes a plot point that helps Justin Long change his mind, you know? And it seems so mundane at first. But I don't know. I just think that, like, it's not like it's not the silliest idea for a joke, but it's just kind of not well handled. It needs like a slight tweak to actually become a real joke in a way that would be funny today. And I don't know. I just don't think
the tweak is that one of the ladies does it at the end, and then she lifts her skirt up, and it's just a bush full of crabs. Yeah. Great. Comedy's alive.
Comedy in 2005.
I mean, it really is the Kubrick of filmmaking, this fucking guy. Yeah, man, there's not a lot going on. I was just waiting for this movie to end. Like, Ryan Reynolds gets shit on for Green Lantern or whatever, but then no one even mentions this as being a dumpster fire that he's ever participated in.
I saw an article which I didn't read because I refuse to participate in the idea that this is a cult film.
Yeah.
Where someone wrote, it was like on one of those fucking aggregator websites where they're just like, a really underrated Ryan Reynolds movie is about to come on Netflix, and I was like, you're in for a rough surprise.
No.
And it was waiting, but like I'm like, you're really in for something.
Yeah, dude.
Different.
Yeah.
Even when we were abroad, I partook in watching American Pie 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Even those movies I really don't think have aged as poorly as this.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, it's one thing, because sexuality, great. It is something to be curious about. Explore that, make fun of that, make fun of yourself, great. But then it's like the hurtful tone of it and the belittling.
Well, also,
that's what has changed.
In the American Pie films, everyone is clear that Stifler is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And this movie is Stifler. You know?
Ryan Reynolds is Stifler in this.
Yeah. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. We solved it. We cracked the code.
Cracked it.
Yeah.
I have a fun fact for you.
Tell me.
Do you know that Happy Birthday song they said in the restaurant where they make up their own song?
Yeah.
That was good. I really enjoyed it. But that's not the fact. The fun fact is that someone copyrighted that one. So now other restaurants have to make up their own song when they do Happy Birthdays.
Good. That was I don't know, all of our listeners are between the ages of 18 and 20, so I don't know if they quite remember that there was a time when the Happy Birthday song was copyrighted by Disney, so you couldn't sing it in any media. And that was the time, and I believe it was only in like 2013 or whatever that it ran out. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Disney's a fucking asshole.
Fuck you, Disney. Please don't take the bear off your channel, asshole, but like fuck you. Another best part about this movie to me was the post-credit scene when everything ends and then it's just those two white rappers.
Oh, fuck
the
me.
Children doing their little rap scene.
I didn't see it, yeah. I didn't stick around to watch it.
It's actually really cute.
Oh, okay.
And his chubby little face saying all the words that he'll never be able to do. It's great. F and B's and the A's. Sir, you can't get off your chair. It's hard out
Man, it was a different time back then.
It was. I'm glad it's over. I don't want to be 15 again. So
yeah, 2005 is really our jam. We're really just up in 2005.
Yeah.
Changing our name to the 2005 pod. Have you ever worked somewhere where you felt you had to debase yourself in such a way for like customers? Like you worked at a bar, right?
Yeah, so. But that was like a nice older people like, and very sweet old people.
I never felt I'm happy that like in my years of like service, I've never not military service, like working in the service, and I've never felt like I had to debase myself for like approval from customers, which I'm really lucky about. It's so funny because like, so I worked in a cafe, as you know, but the listeners don't know. I worked in a cafe for a really long time, and it's like a nicer cafe. Like I said, lots of elderly people went there and pinched my cheeks and fucking wanted to kiss me and stuff.
Yeah, get it.
But like,
and then they were like, "Where's our non-fat almond milk, dairy, sugar free?"
Yeah, spilled their latte on me, and were like, "You're a fucking useless piece of shit.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Whoa, Eleanor.
If you were my son, I'd drown you in the
Agnes,
bath. Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's what they'd whisper to me after. Yeah.
The mouth on her.
Agnes was a real hooker. Everyone who worked there was like really. It was like really a wholesome experience.
Yeah.
It was like the opposite of the typical restaurant experience.
Yeah.
So like I never really got the kind of like burnt or the bear or waiting experience in my life.
Right,
like the debauchery of it all. It was all very like, everyone was super nice and like wholesome.
No one yelled at you like, are you trying to fuck me, chef?
People yelled and it could get intense, but it was never like, you know how they go to a party every night after in this movie?
Yeah.
It's like, it was never really like that. Like we went out and partied sometimes, but never like crazy.
No, because you work to your bone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing actual work and not goofing around, putting your pubes on a plate. So,
Yeah.
less and less much. That's how I know I'm getting old and boring. That's how I know. Because like, I cannot, like, it takes me a minute to sit through a movie like waiting.
Our sensibilities have just changed. That's all.
Yeah. Thank God, dude.
Yeah. We're like super mature and like
I'm just like super
Yeah,
mature. Like, anyway, I have a top 5 that's also super mature.
I'm gonna go watch. I'm really into a British show because I'm like mature.
British
So I'm gonna like
Bake Off?
whatever the new like British
Oh, The Crown.
foreign show is. I'm really into that because that's like what mature people do.
That's what we're all
Watch
watching.
British foreign stuff.
Fuck, what is a mature show? I can't even think.
I
don't think there's. Is there one? There's not. What's like an old person show?
Bridgerton.
That's super horny young person show.
No, they have accents, so it's like
Downton
really
Abbey.
Cool. Downton Abbey.
Does
yeah.
we're super into Downton Abbey,
Yeah.
and we're watching that very much.
Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
TV has become so like kind of middle of the road, not in quality necessarily, but like it kind of appeals to most people. So there's not anything that's like super, you know. I mean, Full Circle is pretty cerebral. That's what we started watching. So,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
but
I solved it, so you're welcome.
yeah,
I already completed the pie.
We solved that CCH Pounder was actually Stringer Bell.
What a chameleon that one.
Yeah, yes, Full Circle is a good show. Watch it. You have a top 5.
Speaking of TV shows, man, I know because we're on the tangent of like watching a lot of restaurant content, movies, TV shows. So I have
The Bear season 2 did not disappoint. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
not so far.
Nope.
The top 5 TV shows that could be a real life restaurant.
Go on.
Number 5, and you poked at it earlier.
Silicon
Silicon
Valley.
Valley. TJ Miller alone could carry the creep potential of like waiting, on his back. He could be the Ryan Reynolds of
TJ Miller was
what
he
a face.
could have been in this film.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he could have been Ryan Reynolds in this
vibe.
film.
Oh yeah,
100%.
In Searching for a Friend for the End of the World or whatever, he plays a server in a zany restaurant.
Oh, okay.
As the world is about to end or something. Yeah.
There you go. He also plays like a zany friend in She's Out of Your League with Jay Baruchel.
Yeah.
So then Jay Baruchel could be Justin Long in this film. Like it's
Yeah.
just that
Yeah.
dynamic is just always there of like shy guy and edgy guy.
Currently, he plays a zany person in real life. I think that's his main thing.
There's a lot
these
going
days.
on
Yeah.
with Teach.
Yeah.
I'm thinking for Silicon Valley, it's like a Five Guys joint. That's
Silicon Valley with like that cast.
Yeah.
Remaking a movie like this would be phenomenal.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani, like he methodically counts the number of fries that he puts on the plate. Like, what's up?
You know what though? Speaking of sophisticated television, that's kind of all Kumail makes now. So he doesn't make comedies anymore.
No,
Yeah.
He's super serious, and we're all eternally grateful.
Yeah, he makes stuff on Apple TV Plus. That's how you know it's sophisticated. So.
Didn't he do the one with the penis show? Cotton Balls?
Chippendales, yeah. Yeah, and actually next year they're coming out with Chippendales Chipwrecked, and it's going to be a big one, yeah.
At number 4, we have, this whole list is just for you and me, industry. The waiting of bulls and bears. So, and they only have like 2 items on the menu. It's coffee and Hot Pockets. And every customer burns the roof of their mouth every time.
And every time Mahalia Harold goes to like take an order, you can't see her because she's so short.
She's
Go to
they're
the
like,
table.
where's that voice coming from?
Yeah.
And she's under the table being like, so is it going to be 2 coffees and 2 Hot Pockets?
Yeah.
Let's put stocks on that. Number 3.
Great show.
It's Always Sunny.
I mean, they run a bar.
They do run a bar, but Dennis would just be like the perfect like restaurant manager / creep / Ryan Reynolds character.
You know what? You know, Always Sunny in Philadelphia plus Ryan Reynolds. I mean, if fucking Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are going to go buy soccer teams together, why don't they put their money where their mouth is and actually act on the same? Because you know what?
Damn it.
I've never seen them in the same room.
No, they're the same person.
They might be the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is D. I think they're all just like a 3-headed fucking, what is that dog? They're that.
Cerberus?
Cerberus.
Cerebus?
Think of like if they ran like a shitty upscale place with like inflated prices. You know, one of those like fake Italian restaurants that misspell prosciutto?
I would love to see Danny DeVito and Luis Guzman. I don't know if they've ever acted together, but what a fucking pair.
Oh shit, that is potential.
Yeah. We might have just come up with a new Sunny spinoff.
Holy.
Have they done an episode where like the gang tries to serve food? I think they have.
I bet.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's served food, but like definitely like killed each other.
I just binged that show.
The gang got poisoned.
Oh, they've been poisoned multiple times.
Yeah. Number 2, Entourage.
I've never seen Entourage.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to my life. You know what? Let me set the stage. Drama thinks he should be made assistant manager at the restaurant. But E and Turtle are also fighting for the same position. So one day, Turtle accidentally mixes up sugar with cocaine, and Drama drinks the lethal coffee. So he lives and dies pretty spectacularly.
There's like one Entourage fan out there just being like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
What do you mean what? It was a fantastic show.
Well, yeah, I mean, not like we're like rolling in listeners out here. Come on.
Oh man. Yeah, Entourage. Entourage would be a great restaurant where customers just keep waiting for the menu.
There's got to be a restaurant in the world called Entourage, at least one.
I
Definitely in Vegas. Definitely. Go on.
Number 1
The Bear.
TV show that could be a restaurant. The Leftovers. Just
that would be the most upsetting restaurant to go. Everyone would be like very maudlin. And
they didn't make it though through COVID and got shut down. And that's the top 5.
That's a good top 5.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, no more waiting.
It's an interesting objet d'art of that time. It's a time capsule of
Yeah, let it stay buried. Stay
I can't
in the
say
ground.
that if you've seen this movie, I mean, I can't say like go back and check it out.
No.
It's like it's exactly what you remember.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen a movie, you're not missing anything.
You're not missing
There's
a lot.
others. Go watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
It's been The Low Ceiling.
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at The Low Ceiling.
Hell yeah.
You can also go in there and delete your Instagram because it's a fucking piece of shit website.
You know what? Get over on that TikTok instead. We support foreign agencies.
Yeah, I love being spied on by but I only love being spied on by China. I don't care for being spied on by Americans.
No, God,
because
no.
it's so gauche.
Okay, don't be crass, man.
Yeah. Mark, don't be crass.
Don't be crass, Mark.
Yeah. I'm trying to watch Bridgerton and you're spying on me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Forever.